Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Summertime covering much of the United States today with heat, humidity, and some thunderstorms and pockets of severe weather. We're going to be talking about that and looking ahead to the end of the week and the weekend. That's tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Meanwhile, as we take a look at the high temperatures today, this is really the first day inside the summer season where we saw highs reach up into the 90s across a good chunk of upstate New York. It was in the upper 80s and low 90s. The same holds for central and southern New England. We get down to New Jersey and eastern and central Pennsylvania, most highs in the low 90s. There were a couple of hot spots, though. 95 for the high in northern Delaware at State Road 7 and Valley Road, if you want to be really specific. Trenton, Mercer County Airport got to 97, 96 today in New Middlesex County, and we got a 95 up in Waldwick in northeastern parts of New Jersey. Long Island highs also reaching the upper 80s and lower 90s, and down in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area and further south into Virginia, also upper 80s to low 90s. What you would expect in July. Nothing really out of hand here as far as the high temperatures are concerned. We are sort of in no man's land as far as the pressure pattern goes. Weak high pressure sitting over western Pennsylvania and also into West Virginia. There's a weak little frontal boundary in southeastern Virginia into western South Carolina. Not really doing much there. And then we've got this wavy front from the Great Lakes south and west across Missouri into southern Kansas, and then swings back into North Texas, and then arcs its way back westward through southern Colorado and through Utah. Should point out that it's actually rather cool in much of the northern plains and the northern Rockies, down even into the central Rockies, many areas only in the 50s and 60s during the middle part of the afternoon. That's actually being helped along by a lot of cloud cover there, and you see it not producing a lot of precip, but there's a lot of cloud cover holding temperatures down. Meanwhile, on the loop, you can see the showers and thunderstorms that have popped up across the south, and we're also seeing some thunderstorms in parts of the upper Midwest, down through the Mississippi Valley. Nothing really too organized as far as severe weather is concerned, and then much of the Northeast dealing with sunshine and just some patchy clouds, and maybe one or two isolated showers and storms. You can check it out here on the tight satellite loop. Just to see the pop-ups there, those clumps of bright white clouds that show up, say, in upstate New York. Maybe a couple of thunderstorms there, a little cloud cover there in eastern Maine. Bigger blow-ups down in the Carolinas where there's some thunderstorm activity going on. And here's a look at the radar as of 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time. There are those scattered cells way up in upstate New York. Also a couple in Maryland and around the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. We're seeing some showers and storms in eastern North Carolina, arcing back across South Carolina into east central Georgia. And then we have showers along the Gulf Coast, down into Florida, back over into Louisiana. This is pretty much typical stuff. And here's where we see a bit more of an organized line of storms through southern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, and into northern Arkansas, also extending up into northern Illinois. A lot of severe thunderstorm warnings popping up and some special marine warnings in and around Chicago, Milwaukee, and even up to as far north as Green Bay. Not a whole lot happening in the west at the moment. Around in central Colorado, looks like some showers around Denver, also in northern Nebraska and southern South Dakota. The Storm Prediction Center for tonight has kind of a amorphous area here of marginal to occasionally slight risk across the southeast and Gulf states, and then northeastward up to Lake Michigan, slight risk in and around Chicago and in northeastern Illinois, also slight risk in western Oklahoma, northwest Texas, northeast New Mexico, and let's call it southeastern Colorado. Next couple of days, we're looking at slight to enhanced risk tomorrow in the western plains, and that comes with a 2 to as high as 5% tornado risk. The 5% tornado risk in eastern Colorado, not quite to Denver, but not that far away either. Otherwise, not much anywhere else. And then on day 3, which takes us to Friday into Saturday, we're looking at a marginal to slight risk in the Central Plains. Rainfall for the next 7 days, actually rather substantial. From the Central Plains to the Central Gulf states, anywhere from an inch and a half to as much as 3 inches or more in some areas. Also, the interior areas of the Northeast, running from Maryland northeastward all the way up into Maine, a fairly large area of an inch and a half plus, in some areas as much as 2.5 inches plus. Nothing really to talk about out in the West. So we're just pretty much in July mode here. The weather pattern continues to suggest that we will see weather systems moving along at a fairly regular rate. As far as tomorrow is concerned, we are looking at another hot day in much of the east with high humidity and the isolated shower or thunderstorm that could pop up. You see more numerous storms down in Louisiana and also in northeastern Florida. Tomorrow night, some storms fire up into the plains. Then, as we go into Friday, we have a weak weather front that will approach that could set off some showers and thunderstorms, although they look like they'll be scattered in nature, perhaps more numerous on the southern end in the Carolinas down into Georgia. Also seeing some showers moving into the Great Lakes, on up into northern Minnesota, and some showers and storms in the western plains. Saturday, we're looking at that front kind of sort of laying there on the coast, and that might set off a shower or thunderstorm or two Saturday afternoon and evening, but nothing substantial. But the area that's in Missouri and southern Illinois, that's a little short wave with a low that's going to form and move to the east. And I think this has a good chance of bringing more numerous showers and thunderstorms later Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. And that's out of this. We could see some heavy downpours, might even see some isolated severe thunderstorms out of this. And then that goes up to give us a little bit of a break on Monday, but then another disturbance could move through Monday night into Tuesday with the chance that we could see some showers and thunderstorms. In the meanwhile, the humidity levels are probably going to stay high from now right through the weekend, although the temperatures may start to tail off just a little bit beginning Friday. Let's call it 85 to near 90 on Friday. And let's say the weekend temperatures will be in the 80s. Sunday could be a bit lower if we get into clouds with that disturbance coming up and it cuts off the sun fast enough and we get into that rain later in the day on Sunday into Sunday night. We'll go through this all over again and then some tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, and that's coming up at 7:35 Eastern Time. So hope to see you then.